welcome in everybody. This is your self-care staffing for Monday, March 30th, 2020. And I am Lou Pascal. I am the school social worker with the Manchester City Schools in Manchester, Tennessee. And just a note before I introduce you to our guest, for our upcoming schedule, we were originally scheduled to be off on Friday, April 3rd and the week of April 6th through 10th for spring break, and that has not been adjusted, so I'm not going to do videos on those days. But we will reconvene for another self-care staffing on Monday, April 13th. So our set is a little different today. We're coming to you from what we call the Pascal Athletic Club, and our first guest to the self-care staffing is Caleb Pascal, and he is a fitness trainer and martial arts instructor, and he's also my husband. So he's going to join us today for the self-care staffing, and we're going to jump right in. So Caleb, tell everyone watching this how exercise can be a part of their self-care and what's beneficial about that.
Okay, well, there are a lot of studies and a lot of research showing that regular exercise does have a lot of benefits, both physical and psychological and emotional. One thing, especially now that everybody's kind of stuck at home, so I'm sure some of you guys have noticed that you may be gaining a little bit of weight. Fridge is always right there for you, which is natural. So one benefit that regular exercise will do is it will reduce a hormone called ghrelin, which is your hunger hormone, and it actually increases a hormone called leptin, which is your full hormone. So just in terms of pure physical exercise, what it will allow you to do is not be as hungry as often. It also has a lot of benefits just in terms of, your feel-good hormone releases, serotonin and endorphins like that. One of the things that it also does is it will help you regulate your stress hormones. So adrenaline and cortisol, of course, when you're under a great deal of stress, you have adrenaline dumps all the time, and ongoing stress will release cortisol, which is not a good hormone to have released all the time. So it will make you feel better doing this, doing regular exercise. And in addition, one of the best things about regular exercise is, especially if you're kind of sat at home thinking, well, I feel kind of lost. I feel directionless. One of the nice things about regular exercise is it does allow you to start setting like tangible goals for yourself and start achieving those tangible goals. So for people who are goal oriented, it's really nice because it allows you to kind of continue with your goals, because now you can see, okay, well, I'm going to try to get one more push-up in today, or I'm going to try to add an exercise, or whatever. You can start seeing actual physical progress and tangible progress once you start regularly exercising. That does kind of leak into the rest of your life. And because you start achieving during your exercise, it makes it easier in some respects to achieve in other things that aren't exercise, because you're kind of training yourself to seek out those achievements. And in addition, as you get better at your exercise, as the weight starts dropping off, as your waist slims up, as you get stronger, you start seeing your muscles popping out or whatever. It does give you an increased sense of confidence, for sure. It really is kind of an inside-out type of self-care. And here's the thing. There's also a lot of research showing that just sitting, which is what most of us do every day I do the same. I mean, most of my day is spent programming and emailing with people. So I sit a lot too. If you're sitting too much, it can have the same effects on you as smoking. So if you're really looking at longevity, and you're really looking at, I guess, living your best life, if that's what you want to say, which I fully believe that self-care is a part of that, this type of exercise, regular exercise, will help reduce those effects from that sitting. This is the world we live in, unfortunately. You know, we live in a world where we're sitting and we're typing and we're writing, and we're doing all this stuff. That's just the way it is. So our goal is to not become what I call an active couch potato, which is I sit for 9 hours a day and then I exercise 3 hours a week. We want to stay active, we want to stay moving, and it really does help us navigate through life. In my opinion, and this is the opinion of a lot of the old school, like the Renaissance artists, Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci, who, by the way, Leonardo
Get a little culture in there today, y'all.
Yeah. Leonardo was an incredible athlete. Just by the way, if you guys didn't know, he was an incredible athlete. They believe that, you know, true living involved both your physical and your mental capacities being trained. And that's something that I try to carry with me as well. The nice thing is they fit together. Your mental and your physical training does fit together. So I would really just say, you know, if you're looking at self-care, look, you know, food therapy, Netflix therapy is all fine and dandy for, you know, occasionally. But if you're really wanting a type of therapy that's going to literally improve every aspect of yourself, regular exercise is the way to go. It doesn't have to be crazy. You don't have to kill yourself doing the exercise. You don't have to leave it all at the gym or leave it all in your living room, wherever you're exercising at, or your garage. But you do need to engage in some regular form of exercise.
Yeah, and so like I said on, you know, any number of other videos, you know, check with, I mean, he's obviously knows a lot about fitness, but if you individually think that you might have some complications before you start exercising, of course, see your doctor. Don't, you know, hurt yourself.
Yeah, this is don't take this to be prescriptive. You know, due diligence and best practices in my field always involve an assessment of underlying medical conditions, underlying injuries, chronic conditions that may be, you know, they may be a contraindication to certain types of exercise. But if you are otherwise healthy and there really is nothing that's holding you back from engaging in exercise, I would recommend or advise that you start. And it doesn't have to be anything, again, we're not talking 3 hours a day, 6 days a week. Start from your level, start where you're at. If that means, you know, if you're getting up every hour and a half and doing a couple of minutes of exercise a few times a day, that's fine. You know, you don't want to make, if you're not used to exercising, you don't want to make this huge lifestyle shift because it's not going to stick. Just like any other habit, any other healthy habit, any other good habit that we build, we have to make sure that it is bite-sized enough for us to fit it into our lives and not fit our lives around it. Yeah. So start from where you're at.
Yeah. And I think you're kind of alluding to some of the barriers that people have to exercise. And we talked a little bit about this. I have never been a huge fan of exercise, and really he's not either. I mean, he isn't really.
I'm not. I don't necessarily like exercise. I do like being in shape.
Yeah. There's a guy that's a historian, and he's also a writer and an author, and people would ask him, you know, do you like writing? And he said, I like the feeling of having written.
Yeah.
So that guy's name is Clay Jenkinson, if you want to check him out. He's a huge Thomas Jefferson scholar. So that's a little bonus for you there today. But when we were talking about this earlier, I was saying that, you know, I thought we should talk about kind of like some life hacks to kind of motivate yourself to exercise. He doesn't kind of seem to need that as much as I do, so I'll just share some of mine. One of the biggest ones for me is what I'm listening to while I'm exercising. So a lot of people do music. If music is your jam, awesome. You can find any kind of number of exercise playlists and all that kind of thing all online. You know, just look into that and you'll probably find playlists to your heart's content. I mean, we're going to give you a song in a little while that'll be good. But what I do more often is I listen to an audiobook. It's usually nonfiction, or a podcast. And those are things that help me get motivated. I don't know. It feels like I'm doing two things at one time, and that feels good. I don't know. But that helps me. So think about what you could be listening to. Or even, I guess, watching. Like if you had your phone and you could put it on YouTube and you could watch something while you're exercising. I don't know. I don't really do that, but that might be a possibility. Do you want to say more about that?
Well, you know,
if it's like, if you're on the elliptical, obviously you can't like lift weights and watch something.
Yeah, just, you know, if you're on the elliptical or something like that, which obviously right now, unless you have an elliptical at home, you won't be.
Right.
You know, you can, if it's something like steady state, which we call steady state, so running, you know, stationary bike, something that doesn't require a whole lot of conscious thought, yeah, you can watch something. I've done that before when I've been on the elliptical. If you're engaging in more strenuous forms of exercise, strength training or something like that, I probably would not recommend that, just because it's going to cause your concentration to flag. So yeah, but definitely finding something that you enjoy listening to is a huge, it can be a really big motivator.
Yeah. That was the next thing on my list, motivators. So when I feel like I'm starting to sort of get stagnant in my exercise, I a lot of times will go get new workout clothes. So some places that I look for workout clothes are TJ Maxx. I have these New Balance pants that I love, and I bought so many pairs of them in all these different colors. TJ Maxx is good for workout clothes. I also am a big Poshmark shopper. You can get cool stuff on Poshmark for exercise. So that's two things to think about. Or, you know, I mean, this is a bigger purchase, but like, you know, if you have a Fitbit or something like that, you might want to upgrade that. New water bottles. I mean, there's any number of things, new hair ties, any number of things that you could do to kind of, you know, put a little bit more new excitement, I guess, into your workout life. So that's one thing that's good for me. This is, I'll save one for last, but one more that especially since we're coming to you from what we, you know, kind of what we use as our gym, like outfit your space. I don't know if we want to like turn this around, but like there's all kinds of exercise equipment out here. There's, matting. So if you need to get a yoga mat, if you need to get an exercise ball, if you need to get, these are, kettlebells, and there are different places online that you can find
we
things.
even have light dumbbells.
Yeah. So, you know, and it doesn't all have to be at one time. You can kind of like, as you go, kind of purchase things. I'm in an Amazon group and they'll put up different workout things from time to time, and I'll, you know, pick them up for, you know, a low price. So think about that. Or if it's things like, do you need shelving to store stuff? You know, what could you do to make, I guess I'm kind of talking about like getting rid of those barriers to entry. So like people say, you know, put all your workout clothes together in the morning time, or, you know, whatever it is you have to do. So like for me, just to give you an example, this is might sound really silly, but I keep all my exercise clothes. Our house has 2 floors, and I keep all my exercise clothes in the laundry room, which is downstairs, because for me, really, honestly, y'all, a walk upstairs sometimes could be enough for me to say, forget it, I'm not doing it today. So I keep them in the laundry room downstairs. And because we work out, like I said, like we're coming to you from our gym. We work out at home. We go to a facility to work out too, but a considerable amount of time we're working out at home. So anything I can do to eliminate a barrier that for whatever reason just makes it seem too hard in that, because I exercise usually after I get home from work. So anything that can make that seem less hard is something I want to do. So I put all my workout clothes in the laundry room, and I just can go grab everything real quick. Everything's together, everything's clean, everything's ready. So that's a way for me to get rid of a barrier.
Yeah, that the psychological barriers and the emotional barriers are really the hardest barriers to overcome. And really what Lou's talking about is some of the same type of advice that I give my clients. Since my clients now are all working out online with me, one of the things that we really had to talk about was, well, how do you turn your existing space into something fitness oriented? One of the biggest barriers that I have seen and that I found myself when doing home workouts is it just doesn't feel like a gym. You're on your couch, you might be working out in the living room in front of your TV, and you're watching whatever you're watching, Tiger King.
Hashtag obsessed.
Yeah, insanity. But it doesn't feel like a fitness space. So a couple of the things that you can do, going back to what you said, are making sure that when you're working out at home, you're dressing out like you would be going to the gym. That's a huge thing. Do not work out in your jeans. Don't work out in your pajama pants or whatever you happen to have on at the time. That's going to not help you feel like you're engaged in a workout. And for those that don't really like working out, it's just going to be that much harder to get into the workout. The other thing about kind of switching your space around, if it has to be a temporary fitness space, that's okay, but do something to designate that space as a fitness space. A yoga mat is a really good idea to do that. My office also doubles as a fitness space. Lou has a yoga mat down there. She has a Swiss ball that she uses as well, or she'll take one of the kettlebells or something in there. That's also a fitness space. So again, yeah, we have this garage, and that's great, but we use my office as well. I use my office quite a bit because I have a pull-up bar between my office door and our downstairs bathroom door.
Well, I think you made a good point the other day when you were talking to people too about not just the physical space, but also sort of the giving each other space. And some of y'all have kids, we don't. I'm not trying to tell you how it can be with kids, because
we're not qualified to
you
give you advice on that.
You know more about that, about how you can make that work, than we do. However, both of us, since we work out at home, we really try hard not to interrupt each other when we're in our workouts. So, I mean, sometimes you can't help it, but, and the workouts we do aren't very long. So it's not really hard to hold your question, in my case, because I always have questions, to hold your question for 30 minutes or whatever. So also that, just trying to, have that agreement together. If you live by yourself, just agree with yourself. That that's kind of a sacred time for the other person, is when they're exercising. You try really hard not to interrupt that.
Yeah, it's important to be as uninterrupted as possible, because it can really throw you off the game when you have constant interruptions. Yeah. And again, even with me, I've been doing this for almost 10 years, and it's very difficult for even me to get back into workout mode if I get interrupted. And that is 10 times harder at home, because there are so many distractions that can happen. So really setting your space, not only physically, but also setting the atmosphere with music, with your clothing choices, with any kind of ritual that you may go through, self-talk or whatever, that you normally use before you get your workout in at a facility. You just need to adapt it for home workouts right now. And if you're not used to working out, and if you don't work out, this is really the perfect time to start, because we're all at home. And I promise you that if you allow this shelter in place, this safer at home, this quarantine that we're under, to dictate your activity level, whenever this is done, you're going to find yourself physically worse off. And we want to reduce that and mitigate that as much as we possibly can.
Yeah. So my last like life hack or whatever is really that I found one of the biggest motivators to me that I found is I started to realize that when I was exercising, and I used to say when I was trying not to die, when I was trying to continue to breathe through my exercise, I found that multiple times some of the best ideas that I had for work came to me during exercise. So things that seemed unsolvable before, I would kind of get a new insight or whatever. So it's something about it, again, when you're trying not to die, your head clears somehow. And like, just, you know, that's just a personal thing for me. I don't know if you'll find that to be true for you, but that's a big motivator to me, is that I sometimes get really, really great ideas for things when I'm exercising. So we're going to wrap it up. This is a little bit of a longer self-care staffing, but we're going to do the same format today that we usually do. So our quote for the day, Caleb's got a quote for us from
one of my heroes, Bruce Lee. He said, you know, there are no limits. There are plateaus, but you must not stay there, and you must go beyond them. And you know, Bruce Lee was very, very physically active and believed in physical activity, including martial arts, but really physical activity in general, as not only as a means of self-expression, but a means of meditation and self-improvement and self-care. So yeah, keep that in mind. There are no limits.
Okay. And then he has a video for us. I'm going to let you say this because I'm afraid I'll mispronounce the name. But, and it's sort of for laughs, but I'll let him introduce it to you and then we'll talk about it.
So we'll put up a link on YouTube to this kid. It's a kid named Ryusei Imai. And people call him Baby Bruce Lee. He's 9, I think, this year. And this kid is ridiculous. Now, this kid is doing physical things that I haven't seen grown men be able to do. And it's inspiring because, you know, it's cool seeing a kid like that, you know, go for it. But it's also kind of funny because this kid is like dead serious about.
Yeah. It's not like haha funny, but yeah, the fact that he's so serious about it is amusing.
He's intense. This kid is intense.
That they call him Baby Bruce Lee.
Yeah,
I don't
Baby
know. It
Bruce
just
Lee.
makes me laugh. Okay, and then the song of the day is.
It's a guy named Stickman. He's a hip hop artist. So if you guys don't like hip hop, I apologize. I love hip hop. That's
it's a
what I
safe
listen
space.
to.
We do all genres here. It's cool.
Yeah, I love hip hop. That's what I listen to. But STIC space or period MAN, and it's a song called Let It Burn. It's off of his album actually called The Workout, and every track on there is designed to take you through an exercise session. So
okay, and we will link that also for you. For those of y'all that I usually put all the links on Facebook when I post this on Facebook, so that's where to find all that stuff. Okay, so Caleb, where can people who want to connect with you about fitness online find you?
Well, obviously I'm on Facebook. So the best way to connect with me, well, there are 2 ways. You can just message me through my personal Facebook page, Caleb Paschal. Or
Paschall.
Yes. Or you can message me through my business page, which is Murfreesboro Focus Counterviolence. We can put a link up to that Facebook page as well. I regularly check it and update it. And that's also my fitness training. It's mostly like self-defense and martial arts stuff on the page, but you can get me you can get me through there, and if you have any questions about fitness training as well. So.
All right. Okay, so thanks for being our inaugural guest
Yeah,
on
absolutely.
the self-care staffing. And if all hearts and minds are clear, we will see y'all. I will see y'all back here tomorrow, or back at our regular set. We won't be in the gym tomorrow. See y'all then. Bye.